All right, Algebra 2 skills number 35, radical versus rational exponent notation. So let's see what this is all about. All right, so we've got a split screen here, radical form versus rational exponent form. Radical form, of course, just has a radical, so we're not too worried about the index or what's under there. It just has a radical. Whereas rational exponent form has an exponent, and that exponent is a fraction. Basically, rational means like a ratio or a fraction. And these two are equivalent, and we'll talk about why they're equivalent on the next slide. So how do you convert between the two? So here we have radical form, here we have rational exponent form. And you can see the pattern pretty simply here. The exponent of the radical side is your numerator, whereas the index is the denominator. So you just have to remember exponent goes on top of index. Okay, so if we're converting, say, to radical form and we're given rational exponent form, remember this is the numerator, so that's going to become, and backwards what we said before, this is the power, and this is going to be the index. Okay, so we can see the power of 2 and the index of 5, and it doesn't matter which presentation you have. Either one of these are equivalent. Okay, so you may see these pretty equally, but we have the index and the power in both cases. Okay, going the other way, going to rational exponent form, we have the 4th root of x squared. So again, this is the numerator, this becomes a denominator. And yes, 2/4 does reduce, and you can reduce it there to 1/2. Example 3, convert to rational exponent form. Now here we have just the square root of y, so some things you have to do here is understand that put it in red here, because you're not going to see this understood 2, nor will you see this understood 1. So the a invisible, so to speak, index is 2 and an invisible exponent is 1. And once you realize that, it's pretty simple. But realize the square root does have a 2 there that you don't see, and any variable or any radicand without a visible power is to the first power. Okay, you can evaluate here, which means we have just a number. So 8 to the 2/3, that might not be obvious to you, but if you change it to radical form, particularly in this way, again, this is the power, this is the index. The cube root of 8 is easy to compute without a calculator. That's 2, and then 2 squared is 4. So you can convert this. 8 to the 2/3 power is 4 with these rational exponents. And finally, we can simplify here using exponent rules. So that also can be done. You'll just add 2/5 and 1/4. This is actually 8/20 and 5/20. So we add those to get 13/20. And if you wanted to, you could change that over to radical form.